You are now tuned into the TRUENORTH.BET podcast brought to you by TRUENORTH.BET. Of course, the best podcast out there for all of your football needs, basketball needs, sports needs. Understand it. TRUENORTH.BET is always a bet in the right direction, regardless of how you spin it, always a bet in the right direction. You can find our podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, on any platform that, of course, has your podcast needs. I'm your host, Brandon Graham, and I'm pleased to be back because, of course, there's so much to discuss. And we'll get right into it fairly soon. But I just want to let you all know, August 19th, I'll be hosting the Battle 416 Battle Canada, as well as the Paper Crane Apparel charity basketball event held at Yonge and Dundas Square. Can't wait to be there alongside, of course, all the great workers here at TrueNorth.BET, Paper Crane, Battle Canada. Last year's event was absolutely exceptional, and I cannot wait to get back to it. It's going to be an absolute blast. Please, of course, if you're in Toronto, show up, show out, have a great time, enjoy it. There will be drinks. There will be, of course, a lot of food there as well, too, if you need. You're in the middle of Toronto, Yonge and Dundas Square, so it's going to be an excellent event. Of course, I really hope that many of you can show up to that. But once again, if you don't, you'll be missing out, and that's the bottom line. That's what it is. Not really something we can really get towards, or avoid. But that's something I'm really looking forward to. That's, of course, on Saturday, August 19th. It's going to be an exceptional time, and of course, cannot wait to get into it. But to start off, big news that dropped, especially today, is the fact that the movie The Blindside. My God, I'm going to start with this before getting into rookie QBs and just NFL in general. There's so much to get into with the preseason rolling along, Hard Knocks rolling along with the New York Jets, Aaron Rodgers being in the fold, that team doing what they do best. Of course, now starting to pick up steam, of course, in the AFCs. The fact that that particular team will be going up against the Bills, the Patriots, and the Dolphins, who all have formidable teams for the most part. I see the Patriots actually being last in that division by far, for sure. And then, Bill's just going to stay and they're going to try to regroup and take the same road that Greg Popovich has with the Spurs. But that team is going to be the last place team because the Dolphins look promising with Tua coming right back. Him, of course, trying to redeem himself, still be one of the top 100 players. Of course, he had Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, and many others playing in the fold. But this year, let's see exactly what happens because they do have some more weapons. They have a team where they understand the offensive scheme. They understand the install. They understand everything that's going on. Competitive vision. They cannot wait to get into it because competition is everything. Competition is exactly what we do in this world. It's what we do in life. But let me start with The Blindside. The Blindside, retired NFL star Michael Oher. So he was a star. He was a 5-star O-lineman coming out of high school, right? And just going to Ole Miss and then going to the NFL, playing for the Ravens, so on and so forth. But Oher alleges that the Tuohys, who essentially in that movie, many people have seen it, it's won an Oscar, for goodness sake. It's won an Oscar. It was all a lie, all right? Millions off of a lie, of course, of adoption. Everything was a lie, claiming that entire team, not the team, but mostly the family, alleged that, pretty much stated that they adopted him and grind him off out of poverty. No, there's essentially just boosters that just helped him get to Ole Miss, but they've profited off of it. And of course, in this report right here that was actually written by Michael A. Fletcher, black reporter at ESPN, essentially saying that the royalties that came from the movie in general, the movie earned more than $300 million. Michael Oher got nothing for a story that would not have existed without him. Incredible story that's unfolded. Of course, there are co-conservators, Leanne Tuohy and Sean Tuohy, enriched themselves at the expense of their ward, at the expense of Michael Oher in general. And of course, he got nothing from it. He's made a book out of it. Of course, he did. Was with the family, but it was all a lie. Him even not being a good student in school, it's saying that really ruined him over time because a lot of people were pointing towards probably him not being able to read, so on and so forth. Very, very unfortunate things occurring here, but that story is a wash. That story is untrue. It's very unfortunate. He played for the Panthers, played for the Ravens. He bounced around, but a very, very sad story there. And I hope that he does earn some money at some point, because of course he does deserve it. He does deserve it, and essentially he does deserve to be right up there as a story where there should be a good story. There should be a good happy ending coming out of that for sure, because it was all a lie. Everything was a lie. Bullock, she received an Oscar for this. It's incredible. It's really, really incredible. But another thing that's really incredible, just shifting gears now to the NFL, as we are, within the midst of the preseason, the fact that the Jets have Aaron Rodgers, and now for 1 year they have their running back. They do have Michael Carter. They do have Breece Hall. They have a great running back group. But now, starting today, ex-Vikings running back Dalvin Cook has agreed to a 1-year deal worth up to $8.6 million with the Jets. 1 year, $8.6 million, still making less than Saquon Barkley, but still signing with a team that is looking to make a push. It's essentially, if you really think about it, kind of Super Bowl or bust, especially at the point with where Aaron Rodgers is in his career. It has to be Super Bowl or bust. Do I see them winning their division? No, I see the Bills still winning that division. I see them being a close second now because they have Garrett Wilson, Sauce Gardner. They have so many different Mims. They have so many weapons on the offensive side that can really, really put it together. And we'll see exactly what happens. Tyler Conklin, another tight end for that team. But Aaron Rodgers in the fold, you're always going to be in games because you have a great defense. You have C.J. Mosley, you have Sauce Gardner. You have so many of these guys on defense that can really, really ball. And they're going to be competitive as long as they're out there. They're not going to go out there and be sorry at all. And I see them being number 2, at least in the AFC East for sure. But I don't see them winning the division, but I see them actually going to the playoffs and trying their best. Hopefully re-sign Dalvin Cook for another year. Hopefully have formidable team the next 2-3 years for as long as Aaron Rodgers is in the fold, because I've always said he's the best thrower of the football I've ever seen. Even better than Patrick Mahomes in his prime. Personally, that's what I've seen. And I don't think they're going to be losing anytime soon. I really think they're going to be playing at a really high level fairly soon and putting it all together, because that team is competitive. They're hungry. And that entire franchise is hungry for a winner. That's just the bottom line. They're hungry for a winner, and that's the bottom line. That's what we all need to know. The Patriots have signed ex-Cowboys running back Ezekiel Elliott on a 1-year deal up to $6 million. See the money for running backs getting lower and lower, but they have to sign somewhere. These guys have to go somewhere, and they're starting to kind of fall in and now. Oh, that's refreshing. Let's take this pack and kind of shift gears to the rookie quarterbacks that I've seen. Even with the Browns have a good team. They still have Amari Cooper. Of course, Nick Chubb's going to have all the touches now in the backfield. He'll be a third down back for sure, with Kareem Hunt being out of the fold, and Kareem Hunt possibly signing with the Saints fairly soon. That's still up in the air. But the Browns are good. I think the Browns will have a year. I think they're going to be able to compete with the Bengals, compete with the Ravens at the top of that division. Steelers, will see. Kenny Pickett looks good as well, too, with George Pickens and the entire team. But the Browns, even their backup quarterback, DTR, Dorian Thompson-Robinson out of UCLA, solid quarterback in college, was very competitive each game, was very hungry on a regular basis, working into his craft. And now, as a backup, he's pretty much third string in that, because, of course, they have Dobbs. They have, another guy. They have Kellen Mond, who came out of Texas A&M, and they have Deshaun Watson. It's a really competitive QB room, and we'll see how many guys they actually end up taking. But Deshaun Watson, this is his year, making the money he's made, doing everything he's done, competing the way he's competed, and how he's been on the field. If he fails this year, they have to do something. They probably have to get rid of him, do something to alleviate what's happening in that particular room. Because at the end of the day, he's a very good quarterback, very talented. He was at one point prior to, and he did come in with Patrick Mahomes, but he was a top 5 quarterback for a bit. He was a top 5 quarterback for a bit. So we'll see exactly what happens with him in the fold and how it goes along. But with the Browns, with how they're playing, they have pieces to compete, but can they make the playoffs and make a push? And that's what we're still looking at to see. We don't know if they have enough weapons in that receiver room right now. Of course, they have David Njoku at tight end, but can they really make a push? And I don't know if they really can. That's essentially what I'm kind of looking forward to, and looking to see exactly how they plan to put it all together, because they have a good coach. They have a coach that understands different schemes, understands what needs to happen, but can they put it together to find and to finally get over the hump, to get through those Baker Mayfield days, get through the Johnny Manziel days, get through all those days they have with different quarterbacks over the years, and see if they can get over the hump. By the way, Hard Knocks, the Johnny Manziel documentary, excellent TV. If you have not seen the Johnny football documentary, please go see that. Definitely go see, of course, Hard Knocks. Continue to watch that as it's on HBO. It's gonna be excellent. It's gonna be excellent. And of course, if you have Netflix, you're on TV, if you're off in the summer just like me, that's something you should definitely be doing and kind of going for it. So those are two great productions that are up there. But very soon, Swamp Legends, Florida Gators, I believe of 2012, 2008, 2012 with Tim Tebow, with all those guys. Incredible. I have to fact check exactly the year, but you all know the Tim Tebow years with Percy Harvin, Aaron Hernandez, Cam Newton being there as a backup, Riley Cooper. The list goes on. Pouncey twins. All these players that played on that team over that particular span. So many characters, so many great players, and just a lot of stories. So that's something we'll definitely get into as we get going. But with that, we have the Browns. I'm going to go to the Jets right now. The Jets need to get out of the division, need to compete. And I think I've already said that, but Aaron Rodgers, I love what they're doing there. The hype is all they pushed up. I like Coach Salah. I like, of course, everything they're putting together in that team, how the camaraderie is coming together, of course, in their Hard Knocks. You can see that, but any team that Aaron Rodgers is on, you will be competing, right? This is he even said himself, there's always that insatiable hunger you have for competition. You always want to be better than that other person. And that's exactly what he's doing right now. He says he wants to be better. He has these young guys. They're going to have to ramp it up. It's kind of like LeBron going to a particular team like the Lakers or going to the young Cleveland Cavaliers. They got to be ready to win right now. They got to be ready to win, and that's the bottom line. That's exactly how we see it and how it has to go and how it must go on. But with that being said, going on to another team, you're seeing C.J. Stroud out of Ohio State struggling in his first outing, of course, with new coach for D'Amico Ryan's there. You got Tank Dell. You have other receivers in the fold. You have some guys that can play, but it's going to be tough for guys like C.J. Stroud, for Bryce Young to get used to this. One thing that is very common in a lot of these teams and a lot of these fan bases is that they always believe and always think that they can essentially the quarterbacks have to come out and be like a Patrick Mahomes, right? It's kind of hard to be a Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes came out of to play at Texas Tech, was throwing 30 to 40 times every single game, played baseball, so we had a cannon of an arm already, was in Cliff Kingsbury's offense. It was run and gun. It was literally just it was shooting. He was shooting. He was always throwing the ball. You cannot come in. He was already ready, and he's already in a pro style system coming in. Guys like CJ Stroud, yeah, you're in a pro style system, but it wasn't ramped up as much as it was in the Big 12 with Patrick Mahomes. You can't come in and be as prepared as Patrick because of course he played baseball. It's a different kind of arm with baseball players. I'm telling you, play as a quarterback. Baseball players playing quarterbacks is just different. They've been planning it. The sharp twitch muscles are already firing at a rapid pace when they're at age. His arm is just better and elevated more than the other guys. But the Bryce Youngs, the CJ Strouds, they'll have their chance. But I think the guy that's in the best position as a quarterback, as a rookie right now to succeed is a Anthony Richardson, because he's the one guy that doesn't really have major competition behind him. Like Gardner Minshew is a guy that's played, he's succeeded, but Anthony Richardson has a gun of an arm. He can go out there, he can make mistakes. They're not expecting to make the playoffs this year. They're expecting to be a project. Whereas a guy like CJ Stroud is in competition with, of course, Davis Mills, who started last year, and they obviously played terrible, but he's still a guy that's played, and he's from Stanford. He knows, he understands, he's a smart guy. Bryce Young doesn't really have major backups behind him right now. He's going to be a project as well. So the guys that are projects, they're going to get this year to kind of get through, learn the system. It takes a long time for them to get acclimated to the NFL game, to get acclimated to the speed in general, but they're going to really struggle. But at the same time, they're going to be a little bit more prepared. And I think that, Anthony Richardson is in a better position than a CJ Stroud, than a Bryce Young, essentially what it's going to be, because he can actually work himself. CJ Stroud's going to come right in, coming from a winning program. He's going to be expected to jump in and play well. Who even knows if he can get that starting spot, but they did take him at number 2. So they're going to have to, he's going to have to play well for the investment they've put into him. And I really think he will, because he's a smart kid, humble kid, very hungry athlete as well. He's going to have to put it together. He's going to put it together, and I really believe that. But one thing that I really want to impose, and seeing the schemes that the teams come out with, seeing exactly how they play these rookie quarterbacks, they have to understand, if the kid is successful in college in a certain system, keep them in that system. Don't have them coming under center now and doing these play action passes out of the I formation. Like, that's not what you want to do. Like, CJ Stroud played in the shotgun offense, in the spread offense. Put him in spread offense. Let him do what he's used to. And in high school, these guys are playing in spread offenses, pro style offenses now, Change it up. You got to do the same thing, my guys. D'Amico Ryans, change it up, man. So for the Houston Texans, I think that they're going to be a work in progress. They'll be coming up, but it's going to be another struggle of a year. Bryce Young looks really comfortable in the pocket, but it's not the Alabama O-line. You have a different O-line now. You have guys that are coming at you like the Nick Bosa's. You have the Chase Youngs, all these guys that are incredible pass rushers. Aiden Hutchinson, you have to put it together. You have to be able to stand in the pocket and take a hit. And he's taken a lot of hits in his first few games. So I really hope that he kind of puts it together fairly soon because he's going to be, he seems really poised. He seems to be getting the ball out there, but we'll see how good he is long-term, especially for a guy of his stature. But we've seen Russell Wilson do it. So hopefully we can get him to do it as well too. The Ravens. Lamar Jackson finally has his receiver. There's no more excuses, my guy. No more excuses. If you do not play well this year, well, he's going to play well. He's former MVP. But you have your guy, you have Rashad Bateman still. You still have Perriman. All right. You still have a Devin Duvernay. You have Mark Andrews. In that, of course, that division, you have to play the AFC North. You have to play well. You have to be competing with the Bengals. The Bengals are going to come back. They're revamped. They have pretty much the same team coming back. They need to show out as well, too. And, of course, Joe Burrow is always going to keep them in the games. He's a little bit dinged up right now, but he's always going to keep them in the games. But let's see exactly how they put it together overall. So much more we can get into, and I'm going to be giving you a twofer. I have this one right here, but I'll have another one really soon, of course. But this entire podcast is brought to you by TRUENORTH.BET. TRUENORTH.BET is always a bet in the right direction. Understand, August 19th, we have the charity basketball game at Young Leonard Square. Make sure you pop out. I'm your host, Brandon Graham. Of course, I love coming on here talking a little bit of football, but I'm going to be getting even more to you fairly soon. And remember, Blindside was a lie. Unwatch that entire film. That was terrible. It was saviorism, white saviorism at its finest. Terrible. Unwatch that film. Watch preseason football. Join us in this discussion every single week, and we'll be getting right back into it. We'll be doing quite a bit. But shout out to y'all. Keep balling. This is TRUENORTH.BET podcast. Have yourself a great weekend.